Now we're going to look at the different types of activities that you can use Seesaw for. Typically we use Seesaw how it started out. We'd hit the green plus sign and we would use one of these options to upload or create work. Now you can definitely create your instructions elsewhere using maybe some other kind of format, and you are giving those directions and they upload what they are creating. If you want to include directions within Seesaw, activities is a great alternative. So by going to activities, you can create an assignment within here, and then they're still using those same tools to upload their work, but you can give a little more direction within Seesaw. Here's two examples in my activities that I've already used. I want to show you this one below, this Martin Luther King Jr. Day 1. That was not one that I actually created. That was something that I found in the library. So if you see over in the right-hand side, it says Browse Activity Library. This is a good place to start, especially if you're new and haven't created activities before. Definitely check here and see if there's something that you need or that works for you. Or sometimes I get inspiration by seeing other teachers' work. I think, well, that's not exactly what I need to do, but I like how they designed it, and so I can create something similar for my needs. And so you'll look, there's all kinds of things in here. You can search. We've got a lot of home learning stuff going on, so there's that. You can search by subject. So if I'm looking for math, I can also narrow it down to first grade. And then here are lots of different first grade Seesaw activities. So I can look in here and decide if that fits for me or if not. You'll notice here the directions are already written, and I just have to click assign. I can also click the heart button if I want to save it and I want to find it easily. I can click that heart button and it will go to my library, but it's still not assigned to my students. So if I click on my library, you will see some of my favorite things here that I have created in any of my Seesaw classes. So I'm going to go back to my class. So again, clicking on activities and browse activity library, that is right there. I'm going to show you how to create a new activity. So if we click that blue plus sign, I am at a blank canvas here. So I'm going to type in a title here, and we're going to say 1086, which is fact fluency. And that's just what it's going to show up for the students to see. Now, this is where it's great because I can have all my instructions for this activity housed right here in Seesaw. So I want to create instructions that my students can read. And one thing that's really cool is if you go to the Seesaw help page and you look for icon shortcut, here is a way that you can make the instructions more visual. So they're going to be drawing in this activity. So I'm going to use that shortcut in my directions. So I'm going to say use drawing tool to answer the questions. And so when I click save, this right here is going to change that little icon. So you're kind of typing some code for the computer to know what icon to put there. And you could write more than that if you want. I'm just keeping it simple for now. You can also add voice instructions, and I highly encourage you to do this. So you would just record right here within Seesaw, and you would record whatever you need to tell your students about this assignment. And I think that's really important, especially as we think of home learning. Your students may not have a parent sitting right next to them helping them read or figure out what the instructions are. You may also add multimedia instructions or an example, and some teachers have used this to include a website or a video for students to watch and then reflect on. So again, you're building this assignment for students and enriching it with some kind of multimedia. So when you click that, you have all those same options. So if you want to give them a photo to look at or a video to watch or a link, a website to go to, you can do that all within Seesaw. So you can add that with the multimedia button. And then the other thing you can do is add a template. So if you just save this as is, it's going to give them the option of doing, uploading a photo, going to the drawing board. If you click add template, you are kind of giving a background for them. So you can do that in lots of different ways, but I'm going to upload something that I have created. Now you'll notice that you can add images or a PDF or a video. I'm going to add a PDF. Now my students can actually annotate on top of the image that I upload here. And I'm not sure if Seesaw is allowing this, but possibly with the home learning they are. There is a limit of one page unless you have Seesaw Plus, where you can have multiple pages over here. But you can see here the students are going to use the drawing tool like I asked them to, and they are going to fill in the totals of 10. So they're going to write in here 9 plus 1. Now I'm using a laptop, and you'll see that that's kind of difficult. So in the instructions, I may actually want to give them the option of, hey, you can type as well. You don't just have to draw that, because that would not be fun to do on a laptop. And if that's what your students have, then that's going to be really frustrating for them. So going back to my instructions, now I know that I need to add that in there. But this is the template, so I don't want that there. I'm just kind of practicing, thinking about what my students are going to see. So this is the image they're going to see. I'm going to click that green check mark, and it's going to send me back to my activity. So now they'll see I have a title, I have my instructions. Maybe if I want to add some multimedia for instructions, I can do that, but the template is there now. And then I can just click save. And when I click save, it saves into my activity library. Now at this point, my students cannot see this. I have to click assign for them to be able to see it. Once I click assign, I can choose the class that I want to send it to, and then I can actually schedule it as well. This is awesome, especially because we are looking at maybe trying to prep some activities, and that way it can drop at a certain time for students. So I have these options. Otherwise, if I'm ready to drop it in right away, I can assign it to my class right now, and it will show up under the light bulb for them. So again, remember that you do have the community to look at, and I challenge you to explore some ideas there. It will help you be more creative with creating assignments. But I also want you to think about your students' devices. I've already talked to some of my parents, and I know some of my students are only going to have access to a laptop, not an iPad. So sometimes we think about what we had in class in the assignments that we assigned them in Seesaw, but we need to think about it maybe looking a little different with them being at home and being with a different device. So I encourage you to think about, can they do it with a mouse or with their finger? And I would just honestly avoid, unless everybody has a tablet, avoid any kind of drawing activities, because that is just really difficult with a mouse, especially for the younger students. Once you've assigned activities to students and it's under their light bulb, we need to be mindful that if we have too many activities live here, it could get confusing for students. So if an assignment is over and everybody's responded, then to get it out of the assigned to class, you need to click the 3 dots and click Archive Activity. Now by clicking Archive Activity, those responses are going to stay in their journals, but they're no longer going to show up under the light bulb as an activity that they need to do or that they have access to. So I'm going to click Archive Activity, and you'll see it will remove it from class activities. The responses will still be there. Archive. So you'll see now that this is the only one assigned to my class, and I can look back at archived activities. The other thing to keep in mind is it stays in my library for future use. So if I want to pull this out again, I can, or if I want to use it in future classes, it's still there. I'm just archiving it to get it out of the feed so the students aren't overwhelmed with multiple activities.